Most people imagine a dog's final days the same way: fear, confusion, a slow fading away into darkness. And if you've been through it, or if you're going through it now, that image probably lives in your mind alongside every question you haven't been able to answer. Did they suffer? Were they scared? Did they know what was happening to them? Here is what the neuroscience actually shows. Your dog did not experience their final days the way you've been imagining. Researchers at the University of Madrid found that dogs possess what they call a minimal concept of death. They understand it intellectually, but they don't experience existential dread. That part is exclusively human. What they experience instead in their nervous systems, in their reward circuits, in the olfactory memory that persists until the very last moment, is something that changes how this chapter reads entirely. This is not a sad video. It is a comforting one. And by the end, you will understand exactly why. Before anything else, there is a question that sits underneath everything in this video. Do dogs know they are dying? It sounds like a simple question, but the real, research-backed answer is more nuanced than most people expect, and considerably more comforting. In 2021, Susana Monceau at the University of Madrid studied how different species comprehend mortality. What she found with dogs was this: they possess what she called a minimal concept of death. They understand on some level that life ends. They can recognize the absence of other animals. They respond to death in ways that show awareness. But here is the critical distinction. They don't lie awake at night thinking about their own mortality. The existential dread, the 3 a.m. spiral, the what does it all mean, that part is exclusively human. What your dog is experiencing in their final days is not fear of the unknown. It's something much simpler and much more beautiful.
And it begins with something your dog has been doing their entire life, at a level of sophistication we are only just beginning to understand. Your dog's nose contains 300 million olfactory receptors. Yours contains 6 million. That number alone doesn't quite capture what it means. So here's one that might. In 2024, researchers at Penn Vet trained dogs to detect cancer through saliva samples alone. Their sensitivity rate? 90%. A separate study in California had 5 dogs identify lung cancer through breath samples. Their accuracy? 99%. Think about what that means for a dog in the final weeks of their life. Their most powerful sensory organ, the one they use to navigate every room they enter, to read the emotional state of every person they love, is operating with a precision we cannot fully imagine. What this means is, your dog can likely smell the chemical changes happening inside their own body. They are not confused about what is happening to them. But, and this is important, awareness in dogs does not trigger panic. It triggers instinct. They are not frightened, they are oriented. Their nose has been quietly reading this chapter for weeks, and their biology knows exactly what to do next. And that instinct manifests in ways that, to us, can look deeply worrying. But they are actually something else entirely. If your dog has been pulling away, avoiding eye contact, hiding behind the couch, refusing food, refusing touch, refusing you, your first instinct might be, did I do something wrong? You didn't. In 1988, Benjamin Hart at UC Davis spent years studying the behavior of ill animals across species. What he found reframes everything. Social withdrawal, reduced appetite, increased sleep. These are not signs of depression. They are not signs of fear, and they are not about you. Hart called them evolutionary traits, a total effort to overcome. In the wild, a sick animal isolates to preserve the pack's resources and avoid spreading illness. Their biology is doing something ancient and courageous. Your dog is not giving up. They are fighting in the only way their nervous system knows how. Now, for dogs that do the opposite, the ones that follow you from room to room, that press their whole weight against your legs, that haven't let you out of their sight in 3 weeks, Hart's research is equally clear on this. That is not desperation. That is trust. You are their safe system, and when their own body feels uncertain, when the signals from inside are new and strange, they return to the thing that has always meant safety. They return to you. But of all the behaviors that happen in a dog's final days, none is more misunderstood, and none is more scientifically extraordinary than what researchers call the last rally. A veterinarian in Texas was called to perform a home euthanasia. The owner had made the decision after weeks of watching her dog barely lift his head.
Weeks of sitting on the floor next to him, waiting. When the vet arrived, the dog walked to the door, tail wagging, eyes bright. He sniffed the vet's bag and looked up as if to say, "What's the occasion?" The owner was flooded with doubt. Did I make this up? Did I misread everything? Did I make the wrong call? She almost canceled. What she witnessed has a name. In 2023, a research team cataloged 114 documented accounts of this phenomenon from pet owners and veterinarians across multiple countries. They found a consistent pattern, a sudden, brief surge of energy and lucidity before the end. Not recovery, not a sign they were getting better, a surge. And here is where the science becomes extraordinary. Jimo Borjagan at the University of Michigan documented the same pattern in humans at end of life. The brain, in its final hours, doesn't simply dim and go quiet. It releases a surge of gamma wave activity in the posterior cortex, the region most associated with conscious experience and memory. The same region, the same surge, two species, one final brightness. The dog who walked to the door that morning, tail wagging, eyes clear, was not recovering. His nervous system was saying goodbye with everything it had left. Both things can be true at the same time. The explanation can be science, and the meaning can be real. If you saw a last rally and then made a decision, you didn't misread the situation. You witnessed something extraordinary, and you honored it. For those who made the decision to help their dog leave, the next part of this video is specifically for you. If you made the decision to help your dog leave, there is a question that probably lives inside you. Not the question you ask out loud, the one that comes at quiet moments, in the middle of other things. Were they scared? Did they feel what was happening? Did they feel betrayed? Here is what the science shows. Pentobarbital, the medication used in veterinary euthanasia, works in a specific and documented sequence. First, it crosses the blood-brain barrier and binds to GABA receptors. Those receptors are responsible for one thing: slowing neural activity. Within seconds, the brain enters a state that mirrors deep, natural sleep. Not sedation, not suppression. Sleep at a neurological level. The pain receptors go quiet. The stress response, the one that floods the body with cortisol when something is wrong, goes quiet. The anxiety circuits go quiet. What remains in those final seconds is the oldest part of the brain, the limbic system, the region that processes comfort, familiarity, belonging. Researchers at Colorado State University's veterinary program documented what dogs' physiological markers show in the final moments of euthanasia. Heart rate drops smoothly. Muscle tension releases. There is no spike in cortisol, no startle response, no fear signal. Their body was not in distress, and the last thing their nervous system was registering, the last input their limbic system received before everything went quiet, was you. Your voice, your hands.
Your scent. The same signals that had meant safety their entire lives. They were not betrayed. They were held. But what about the people who weren't in the room? The ones who didn't get to be there? That question has an answer too, and it comes from the most extraordinary science in this entire video. In 2019, Alexandra Horowitz at Barnard College published a study on canine olfactory memory. Her team found that dogs can detect a human scent on a surface up to 11.5 years after the person's last contact with it. 11.5 years. Not days, not months, over a decade. Think about what that means for your dog in their final hours in the home you built together. Your scent was in the couch cushions, in the bedroom carpet, in the pillow they slept next to, in the jacket hanging by the door, in every surface you had touched for years. To a dog, scent is not decoration. Scent is presence. And their olfactory cortex doesn't distinguish between you standing in the room and you woven into every fiber of the place they have always called home. For their nervous system, for the 300 million receptors that map their entire world, you were everywhere. You were not absent. You had been there every day. In the way they learned what safety feels like. In the way their reward circuits learned to activate at the sound of your keys. In the scent memory that their brain was still holding, quietly, in those final hours. You could not have been more present. The absence you felt was real. The grief was real. But what they experienced was you. Just you. In every corner of every room. There is one more thing the research shows about what happens in the weeks before the end,
and the one behavior that almost every owner misreads. In the final weeks, many dogs stop eating. Not slowing down, stopping. You try everything. The food they've loved for years. Chicken, the good stuff. Hand feeding, crouching on the floor at midnight, willing them to just take one bite. And they look at you, and they look away. For most owners, this moment carries a specific weight. Did I wait too long? Or did I not try hard enough? Did they give up, or did I? Here is what the research shows. In 2020, a veterinary oncology team at Cornell University published findings on appetite suppression in terminal patients across species. What they documented was this: food refusal in the final stage is not an emotional decision. It is a physiological one. As the body begins to shut down, the digestive system, which requires enormous energy to operate, is deprioritized. Blood is redirected. Metabolic processes slow. The hunger signal, quite literally, goes quiet. Your dog wasn't giving up. Their body was doing something precise and intentional, conserving the remaining energy for the systems that matter most: breath, heartbeat, awareness. And here's the part most people don't know. The same Cornell study found that in the majority of cases, dogs in this stage showed no physiological markers of hunger distress. No elevated cortisol, no agitation response, no distress signal. They were not hungry and refusing, they were simply no longer hungry. You were not failing them by not finding the right food. You were sitting with them through something their body already knew how to do. There is one more layer to this, about the emotional experience underneath the biology, and the one thing almost every owner gets exactly backwards about what their dog needed most. In 2015, a research team at Azabu University in Japan measured oxytocin levels in dogs and their owners during eye contact. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It's the same neurochemical that floods a mother's brain when she holds her newborn for the first time. What the Azabu team found was extraordinary. Mutual gaze between a dog and their owner triggered a significant oxytocin surge in both species. Not just the human, the dog. The same neurochemical, the same response. Two species looking at each other, triggering the biology of love. Now think about what that means for the final weeks. Every time you sat on the floor next to them, every time you spoke softly and they lifted their eyes to yours, every time you stroked their coat and they exhaled slowly and leaned into your hand, their brain was releasing the same chemistry it had released 1,000 times before. The chemistry that means, I am safe, I am known, I am loved. Most owners believe that the thing they failed to provide was something big. More time, a different decision, a different outcome. But the neuroscience is clear about what dogs need in their final days. Not heroics, not miracles, not perfect choices made under impossible pressure. Presence. And you were there. Every moment you showed up, exhausted, uncertain, heartbroken, and stayed anyway, that was registered. Not as memory in the way humans form memory, but as feeling, as the oldest signal their nervous system knew. Safe, known, loved. That is what they were feeling. That is what you gave them. And in the final part of this video, we bring everything together. Let me bring together what we've covered, because there is a pattern running through every piece of science in this video. And once you see it, it doesn't go away. You believed they were scared. The research shows they possessed awareness without dread, a minimal concept of death, not existential fear. You believed they were confused. The research shows their olfactory system was reading every chapter precisely, with 300 million receptors that never stop mapping the world. You believed their withdrawal meant something was wrong between you. The research shows social isolation is ancient biology, courage, not rejection. Clinging was trust, not desperation. You believed the last rally meant you misread the situation. The research shows it was a gamma wave surge, the nervous system's final brightness. You witnessed something real, and you honored it. You believed the food refusal meant you failed them. The research shows hunger simply went quiet. Their body knew what it was doing. You were not failing. You were witnessing. And underneath all of it, beneath every doubt, every midnight question, every moment you replayed and second-guessed, was oxytocin. Mutual gaze, scent memory woven into 11 years of surfaces, a nervous system that mapped the world through you. You were not absent. You were not failing. You were not wrong. You were exactly what they needed, every single time. That is not a story I am telling you. That is what the data shows. There is one last thing I want to say. Grief researchers have a definition that I think changes how this whole experience reads. Grief, they say, is love with nowhere to go. Not a wound, not a failure, not evidence that you weren't prepared, or that you loved too much, or that you should have done something differently. Love that hasn't found its destination yet. The guilt you've been carrying, if you've been carrying it, is not proof that you did something wrong. It's proof of how much you loved them. And the science we've covered today isn't here to minimize what you've been through. It's here to give you something specific: permission. Permission to stop replaying the moments you couldn't control. Permission to let the questions rest. Permission to carry the love forward without the weight of the guilt attached to it. Your dog knew you, in the truest, most neurologically documented way that knowing can exist between two species. And they were held by you. In the end, always by you. If you came to this video carrying something, a question you couldn't stop asking, a decision you couldn't stop replaying, a quiet weight you've been carrying since the last day, I hope what the science showed you today changes how you carry it. Your dog experienced their final days through 300 million olfactory receptors that mapped the world entirely in you.
Through oxytocin circuits that activated every time you held eye contact. Through a nervous system that had spent years learning that your presence means safety and spent its final hours held inside that knowledge. The guilt was real. The grief is real. The love is real. But the story you told yourself about what they experienced, about what you failed to give them, about what the end meant, the science tells a different story. They were not alone. They were not scared. They were not abandoned. They were held by you in every way that mattered to them most. If this video gave you something, share it with someone who might need it too. There are a lot of people carrying this quietly. Subscribe if you want more science that changes how you understand the animals you love. We go deep here every time. And if you're going through this right now, leave a comment. You don't have to say much. We're here. Take care of yourself.